Imagine a world where empires clash on the edge of a frozen lake, where a single battle could decide the fate of dynasties. In 1388, at Buir Lake, the mighty Ming Dynasty of China faced off against the last remnants of the Mongol Yuan in a showdown that would reshape East Asia. This wasn't just a battle, it was the final nail in the coffin of a once unstoppable empire. Stick with me as we dive into every gripping detail of the Battle of Buir Lake, from the epic build-up to its earth-shattering consequences. To understand the Battle of Buir Lake, we need to go back to the 13th century. The Mongols, under Genghis Khan and his successors, built the largest land empire in history. By 1271, Kublai Khan, Genghis's grandson, established the Yuan dynasty, ruling China as a foreign conqueror. The Yuan brought trade, cultural exchange, and the Pax Mongolica, but their rule wasn't without problems. Heavy taxation, discrimination against ethnic Han Chinese, and natural disasters like floods and plagues fueled resentment. By the 1350s, rebellions erupted across China. A peasant-turned-warlord, Zhu Yuanzhang, led the Red Turban Rebellion, uniting factions to overthrow the Yuan. In 1368, Zhu's forces captured the Yuan capital, Dadu, modern-day Beijing, forcing the Mongol Emperor, Toghon Temur, to flee north to the Mongolian steppes. Zhu declared himself the Hongwu Emperor, founding the Ming Dynasty and claiming the mandate of heaven, the divine right to rule China. But the Mongols didn't vanish. They regrouped as the Northern Yuan, based in Karakoram, still calling themselves the Great Yuan and dreaming of retaking China. Toghon Temur and his successors, including his son Biligtu Khan and grandson Tögüs Temür, maintained their claim to the Chinese throne. For the Ming, this was a direct challenge to their legitimacy. The Hongwu Emperor, a ruthless strategist, vowed to crush the Northern Yuan to secure his dynasty's future. The Hongwu Emperor launched a series of northern expeditions to weaken the Mongols. Between 1372 and 1387, the Ming scored victories, like the capture of Yunnan in 1382 and the surrender of the Urartu Mongols in Manchuria in 1387, led by chieftain Naghachu. These successes emboldened Hongwu to target the Northern Yuan's heart. Uskhal Khan Tögüs Temür, who ruled from the steppes near Buir Lake. The Yuan's rule, 1271 to 1368, was marked by cultural achievements but also ethnic tensions. Zhu Yuanzhang's rise from peasant to emperor was unprecedented, driven by his military genius and anti-Mongol rhetoric. The Northern Yuan's retreat to Mongolia didn't end their ambitions. They conducted raids and allied with Mongol tribes like the Urartu and Oirats. The Ming's northern expeditions were costly but strategic, aiming to prevent a Mongol resurgence. In December 1387, the Hongwu Emperor launched his sixth northern expedition, determined to end the Northern Yuan once and for all. He entrusted the campaign to General Lan Yu, a battle-hardened commander known for his victories in Yunnan and Manchuria. Lan Yu was a bold tactician, often compared to Han Dynasty legend Wei Qing for his ability to outmaneuver nomadic foes. Lan Yu led an army of 150,000 men, infantry, cavalry, and archers, equipped with advanced Ming weaponry, including crossbows, firearms, and siege cannons. The army marched from the Great Wall at Daning, in modern Inner Mongolia, through Qingzhou, braving the harsh Gobi Desert. This was no small feat. Supplying such a large force across hundreds of miles of arid terrain required meticulous planning, with pack animals carrying grain, weapons, and tents. Meanwhile, Togus Temür, the Northern Yuan Khan, was encamped near Buir Lake, a strategic location with ample grazing for Mongol horses. His forces, likely numbering 50,000 to 70,000, were mostly cavalry, light, mobile, and deadly in open combat. But the Northern Yuan was fractured. Tögüs Temür struggled to unify Mongol tribes, many of whom, like the Oirats, pursued their own agendas. His court included loyalists like General Karajan and his sons, but morale was low after years of Ming pressure. As the Ming approached, Lan Yu relied on intelligence from scouts and defectors. Spies reported Tögüs Temür's location northeast of Buir Lake, but when the Ming reached within 40 li, about 20 kilometers of the lake, the Mongols were nowhere to be seen. Lan Yu grew disheartened, fearing the campaign would fail. His subordinate, General Wang Bi, the Marquis of Ding Yuan, urged him to press on, arguing that retreating with such a large army would be a disgrace. Wang Bi's instincts paid off. Scouts soon located the Mongol horde, encamped in a vulnerable position. Lan Yu devised a daring plan: a surprise attack under the cover of night and a brewing sandstorm. The stage was set for one of the most decisive battles in Ming history. Lan Yu's army was a mix of professional soldiers and conscripts trained to counter Mongol cavalry tactics. The Gobi Desert march tested Ming logistics, with water scarcity a major challenge. Toghus Temür's forces were smaller but highly mobile, relying on hit-and-run tactics. The Ming's use of spies was critical, reflecting their growing intelligence network. Wang Bi's role as a motivator highlights the Ming's reliance on strong subordinate commanders. On May 18, 1388, the Battle of Buir Lake erupted with ferocious intensity. Lan Yu's army, cloaked by darkness and a blinding sandstorm, crept within striking distance of the Mongol encampment. The Northern Yuan, unprepared for a night assault, were caught completely off guard. Tögüs Temür's sentries failed to detect the Ming, who struck at dawn with devastating force. The Ming unleashed a coordinated attack. Crossbow volleys rained down on the Mongol camp, sowing panic. Ming cavalry, led by Lan Yu and Wang Bi, charged into the chaos, cutting through Mongol lines. The sandstorm, while disorienting, worked in the Ming's favor, masking their numbers and movements. The Mongols, scrambling to mount their horses, couldn't organize a cohesive defense. The battle was a slaughter. Thousands of Mongols were killed or captured in the rout. The Ming seized Tögüs Temür's second son, Tipao Nu, General Karajan, and, according to some accounts, up to 3,000 princes and nobles. They took 77,000 men, women, and children from the camp, along with 150,000 horses, camels, and cattle. Imperial seals, symbols of Yuan legitimacy, were also captured, a humiliating blow to Mongol prestige. But Tögüs Temür and his eldest son, Tianpao Nu, escaped. Slipping through the chaos, they fled northwest into the steppes, abandoning their people. The Ming, exhausted but triumphant, didn't pursue, focusing instead on securing their massive haul of prisoners and loot. The Battle of Buir Lake was over in hours, but its impact would echo for decades. The sandstorm was a natural ally for the Ming, disrupting Mongol archery and mobility. Ming firearms, though primitive, likely intimidated Mongol forces unfamiliar with gunpowder tactics. The capture of imperial seals was symbolic, undermining the Northern Yuan's claim to the mandate of heaven. Estimates of captives vary, 70,000 to 100,000 people, reflecting the scale of the Mongol camp. Tögüs Temür's escape was a minor setback, but didn't diminish the Ming's strategic victory. The Battle of Buir Lake was a catastrophe for the Northern Yuan. Tögüs Temür's escape was short-lived. Later in 1388, he was betrayed and murdered by a Mongol chieftain, Yesüder, at the Tula River, possibly with Oirat backing. His death marked the end of the Kublai Khan lineage's direct rule. Yesüder, a descendant of Arik Boka, seized the Mongol throne, but he abandoned the Great Yuan title, signaling the end of the Yuan's imperial ambitions. The Northern Yuan fractured further. The Oirats, a Western Mongol group, emerged as kingmakers, supporting puppet khans while pursuing their own power. The Eastern Mongols, including tribes like the Chahar and Khalkha, remained fragmented, unable to challenge the Ming. The loss of 70,000 to 100,000 people and vast livestock crippled the Northern Yuan's economy and military, relegating them to a nomadic existence. For the Ming, Buir Lake was a triumph. The Hongwu Emperor hailed Lan Yu as a hero, comparing him to Wei Qing and elevating him to Duke of Liang with a stipend of 3,000 shu, a prestigious honor. 6 subordinate generals, including Wang Bi, were made marquises, and the army received lavish rewards. The victory solidified the Ming's legitimacy, proving they could defeat the Mongols on their own turf. But the Mongol threat didn't vanish entirely. While Buir Lake crushed the Northern Yuan's dreams of retaking China, Mongol tribes continued sporadic raids. The Ming maintained heavy garrisons along the Great Wall, and under the Hongwu Emperor, 1402 to 1424, further campaigns from 1410 to 1424 targeted Mongol resurgence, notably against the Oirats and Eastern Mongols. The Ming also strengthened trade and tribute systems, like the tea-horse trade, to pacify nomadic neighbors. Tögüs Temür's murder by Yesudar was a power grab, not a Ming victory, but it served Ming interests. The Oirats' rise shifted Mongol politics, with figures like Uskhal Khan later challenging the Ming in the 15th century. Lan Yu's later life was tragic. He was executed in 1393 during Hongwu's purges, a reminder of the emperor's paranoia. The Ming's victory at Buir Lake boosted their prestige, encouraging expansionist policies under Yongle. The tea-horse trade became a key Ming strategy, exchanging tea for Mongol horses to control the frontier. The Battle of Buir Lake was more than a military victory. It was a turning point in East Asian history. For the Ming, it cemented their rule, proving they could project power deep into the steppes. For the Mongols, it marked the end of the Yuan dynasty's imperial legacy, scattering their dreams of reconquest. The Northern Yuan lingered until the 17th century, but never again as a unified threat. Yet, the Mongol spirit endured. Leaders like Dayan Khan in the late 15th century briefly revived Mongol unity, and tribes like the Chahar and Khalkha preserved their identity until the Qing dynasty. Ironically, a Manchu-Mongol hybrid absorbed them in the 1630s. The Ming's triumph at Buir Lake set the stage for centuries of Chinese dominance, but the steppes remained a restless frontier. Today, Buir Lake stands as a quiet reminder of this epic clash. The Hongwu Emperor's vision, Lan Yu's brilliance, and the Mongols' resilience all echo in its waters. This battle wasn't just about swords and sandstorms. It was about the clash of empires, the rise of a dynasty, and the fall of a legacy. If you loved diving into this forgotten chapter of history, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for more epic tales. Let me know in the comments. What do you think of Lan Yu's strategy, and should the Ming have pursued Toghus Temür? Check out our playlist on the Ming Dynasty for more, and I'll see you in the next video.